Hi, you guys. Long time no speak. I'm slightly adjusting my YouTube release schedule to see if you guys like the beginning of the week or the end of the week better. So you'll chime in the comments, but I can also tell from the views. So, okay, I want to talk about the Kathy Hilton social media war that has gone down. And so much has come out of this war. I have so much to share with you today. I really feel like this video is something special. I think it's time we do a bit of a medium dive by my standards on the topic of Kathy Hilton and this war, and Kathy Hilton's response in this war. And I think it's really important to do before the reunion, thus this video dropping today. I think you're going to want to refer this one to people, so I hope you do. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification button, and you'll know what I've been doing the last few days because of this video. This video is a long one, so I'm going to put time codes in the description, and so you guys can go back and find where you left off if you want to see the whole thing, because there's a lot of receipts in here, especially as you get towards the end. In order for me to take you on this Kathy Hilton war medium dive, I first have to start with a few text messages that have been floating around. Some of these you'll have already seen, maybe you missed them, I don't know, but this is where we start because it's going to drive where I take you. This post came from No Filter with Zach's page on Instagram, and in it is Alex Baskin, a screenshot of Kyle Richards from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 12 reunion crying, and a series of communication that happened under that reunion teaser that Alex Baskin posted. Now, what makes this even more important is that Alex Baskin is basically one of the founders of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. He's best friends with Kyle. He was one of the originators of the show. He's worked at Evolution for years. He worked himself up the ranks and became, a partner, and has, I think, recently sold his shares, from what I hear, in that company, but is still very, very proud of the Housewives of Beverly Hills, and I'd say that he sees it as his baby, and he'll probably continue to promote it whether he's involved with it or not, although I haven't checked if he's still doing season 12. I guess he probably is. Anyway, plenty of stories about Alex Baskin, but we'll put that away for now. So Alex posts this reunion trailer, and Kathy and Kyle end up in a feud on his Instagram feed, mainly because of who Alex is. And I don't think Kyle wanted to let Kathy just say whatever she was going to say on his feed without responding to it, because essentially Alex is the boss in a sense. So this would be like having a fight on your boss's Instagram with a coworker. Okay. So anywho, Kathy goes for a punch right on Alex's feed. She says, "Why is she upset and crying? I'm the one who was bullied." And what she means, I'm assuming that she meant persecuted. And I'm also assuming that she was typing very passionate and like in the heat of passion and upset, which is why she posted it without editing it, because I do that all the time when I'm upset by something, although it doesn't happen much these days. I'm like dead inside. Anyway, so Kyle Richards responds back to Kathy Hilton, "Why? You know exactly why. Like, you know exactly why I'm crying." And then she says, "I don't think you want me to explain why." So Kyle is like basically saying with that last comment, don't take a knife to a gunfight. I'll take you out, sister. I'll take you out. So here's how it looks today. Kyle has deleted that more threatening post. I can imagine that the sister WhatsApp went nuts when she did that. With Kim, Kyle, and Kathy. Kim was probably like, "Take it down, Kyle." Anyway, but Kathy is obviously raising the ante by doing this on Alex Baskin's Instagram feed. She knows that, all the powers that be are going to see anything on that page for sure. So Let's move on. This woman, Asmeet17, says, Teddi has badmouthed Kathy on every episode of her podcast this entire season, especially recently. She isn't hiding it. You like her post, not Kathy's on IG. Why can't you take your sister's side against the girls to Teddi? And if you can't control Teddi, then how would you feel if one of your daughter's friends talked bad about your other daughter and they kept hanging out? And it goes on, blah, 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 blah. You get the drift. Anyway, the idea here is that Teddi Mellencamp is really expressing on her show Kyle's viewpoint and bashing Kathy, and using their connection as the fabulous, the Fox Force 5, get the fans on side with Kyle. Let's see what we think. Do we agree with this fan? Wasn't the Fox Force 5 a superhero show? How the hell did it end up naming Kyle, Dorit, Erika, Lisa, and Teddi's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills clique? So cheesy. Anyway, I guess this friendship group has fallen apart because I've heard from other members of the Fox Force that they do not want to go on Teddi's show because they don't feel like their side of the story will be depicted correctly. But essentially it sounds like Kyle's will. And so that thick, tight friendship with Teddi, with Kyle, is still there. And Kyle's using it to her advantage. Let's face it, Teddi, like most influencers, is going to be desperate for content, and Kyle is killer content for her. So let me go ahead and play some of her show recently. Let's see if we think she's biased or impartial.
Are you ready? I'm finally going to be able to see you.
We will see each other in the flesh. I'm a little bit annoyed that we're not on the same plane, but at least I'll be with Kyle, and we're all at the same hotel. And
I think everybody's going to be crazy because we're all at the same hotel.
Yeah, we're all at the same hotel, so it'll be chaos.
Sounds like hell.
And then, are we going to go? So I got my itinerary. So we have we're doing the podcast when I'm at BravoCon with Justin Anderson, but
we can girls also on the show know what happened and they're just not saying it.
I don't think anybody fully knows the capacity of what happened at Kyle's house. Do I think they saw a complete meltdown happen at the club? 1,000,000%.
Okay, so she had a meltdown.
But I don't think the meltdown at the club is where it stops. I don't want to speculate. And the fact that the show is choosing to not air, because here's the thing, we're watching everything play out.
Right.
And those girls that are upset are sharing what they're really upset about. Of
course they are.
And we're not seeing it.
And I'm sure Kyle knows exactly what was said. She's choosing to move on. This is her sister. This is her blood.
Which you understand.
Leave it alone, Rena.
Because
it's making her look crazy.
Because now we're all we're trying to believe the fact that this is all because somebody's feelings are hurt about what they said about their sister, but their sister already accepted the apology. If we're not going to get to the crust, what's the word? Crust?
Shit, crooks. The
crooks. If we're not going to get into the crooks,
I got it right.
You know what? You're a genius, Tam.
I'm so embarrassed I was on this show. I'm just saying.
If we're not going to get to the crooks,
the crooks
of what's actually happened that has set people off, then I don't want to hear about it.
I don't want to hear about it. Do you think we will hear about it at the reunion?
I know it was spoken about at the reunion. Do I know if it will air? I do not.
Okay. Do you think that the producers are doing an amazing job in not telling us what is being said in hopes that it's going to be said at the reunion so we all tune in?
No.
Oh, that was torture. Now you know how much I love you guys. Now let me play this one last thing because this was worth hearing.
All right, here. Which She's talking about Diana Jenkins. I do fully agree with this. We will probably never see Diana again after whatever it is that she does.
I would be shocked if we did. Do you think anybody's going to get canned?
Well, yes, Diana obviously just said
there will be a pretty big shakeup after the season.
You think so?
My guess, I'm just guessing. This is completely a guess. I have absolutely no inside knowledge.
Why are we listening
this
to you
isn't about
then?
being canned, but I think if Kathy isn't showing up to BravoCon, we are done. We will never see Kathy filming again, is my guess.
That's
am
from
also
Kyle.
guessing there will be another shakeup to the Fox Force 4, which there's already been a shakeup.
This part that she's talking about, she wouldn't be confident enough to say. She wouldn't bother saying anything if she really didn't have somebody telling her something. So I want you to know that. Teddi would never say, oh, so-and-so's getting fired or there's going to be a shakeup, and hurt her friends unnecessarily unless she really heard it. Just saying.
Situation involving her sister, but also being hurt by her sister. Like she had a lot
on her plate. Yeah.
She had a lot on her plate. You could tell she was being honest. She's coming and going. Like she's doing as much as she possibly could to stop it. I liked Garcelle this episode. I liked Sutton this episode.
Well, I loved that Kyle broke away from the other girls. I really did. I think it was something that needed to be done.
Now I'm going to jump to another episode. I know it's torture, but we're going to do it because I think I found what these people are saying, because I haven't really heard anything that, against Kathy yet. Have you? I mean, I did listen to the whole thing for us, and I just want to say my shows are nothing like this. I really want to get that across, okay? My God, my shows take hours to prepare. This is like two bitches hanging out.
Okay. Anyways, then Kathy this is where everybody online's like, Kathy ate, which I don't really understand the saying. My kids say it all the time. When somebody ate something. Do you understand this?
No, I mean, I've heard it before. I don't really get it.
It's like she crushed it. Like she's like the Mecca.
I can't keep up with you young.
But I'd be like, she ate it.
She ate it.
No, you don't eat it. You just ate.
Oh,
never heard that one.
Okay.
So Kathy ate because she said, you drove Lisa Vanderpump off the show, and the list goes on and on. And
I mean, I don't know if it's true, but it was definitely a statement.
Yeah, she knew. Believe me, she was prepped for that reunion. There are housewives and friends of that come into the reunion not prepped. You heard a different tone to her voice at this reunion.
Oh, for sure.
Trailer.
For sure.
This was not the everything's hunky-dory Kathy Hilton.
No, and I'm sure she was pretty nervous about going into
the
reunion.
So
yeah. But Andy says Rena's social media is disastrous. I mean, I can think of a lot of other words too. Her response, put me on pause. Rena also says she was abused by Kathy Hilton. Okay, put me on pause.
All I could tell you guys is I listened and listened and listened and listened and listened. And I am wrecked because there was nothing against Kathy in this damn podcast, nor was there anything against Lisa or Erika. It was the most tealess freaking 2 hours of my life that I can't get back. I'm going back to being a baby. Okay, so here's another one. This girl named Glam Girl yells at Kathy Hilton for not sticking up for Erika Jayne during the season because, Erika hasn't been actually found guilty of anything, and Kathy has sort of made her feel guilty about things and hasn't stuck up for her. And why isn't Kathy sticking up for her if it isn't established for Erika? It's just whatever. Anyway, Kathy says, if you go back and watch, you will see I'm the only one that said we are not lawyers. It's none of our business. Gets your facts straight. So she's basically like, I didn't come for Erika. I kind of stuck up for her in my weird way. So that was another thing Kathy felt strongly about responding. In this one, a fan says, I think she's saying that the bullying was cruel and disgusting, not Kyle. Because Kathy, basically says this is disgusting. And the fans immediately are like, Kathy is saying Kyle's disgusting. And this fan, James, is saying, no, she's not saying Kyle's disgusting. She's saying the bullying and the persecution she had on the show was disgusting. And then Kathy chimes in and she says, no, not Kyle, meaning I wasn't saying my sister is disgusting. I just wish she would have had my back. So she clarifies what she means. So this fan said, you should listen to Carlos King's podcast, former producer of Real Housewives of Atlanta and also creator of other reality shows. Listen to at least the first 18 minutes from October 6th episode. Did he spit facts regarding Hiltons, Kardashians, and Rinna or what? Now, I went to listen to this show because that's so there is no October 6th episode of Carlos King's reality with the King show, but there is an October 7th one called Discussion of Dynasties, okay? And I think this is the one they're referring to. So I'm going to jump to 18 and play you what impressed this fan so much. Remember I said Kyle was like the secret producer of the show? But I said that Kathy, I think, wanted to take over the show in a way. But listen.
She's the force multiplier. Kyle is that girl when it comes to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Kathy Hilton knows that at the end of the day, Kyle runs that show. So Kathy Hilton's angst at Kyle had to do with, in my opinion, why aren't you checking this bitch, Lisa Rinna?
I said that.
You should be checking her. I'm trying to promote my products. This show ain't paying me shit that I don't need or have. So I'm using this show to promote products. Why aren't you checking Lisa Rinna? And that's why her anger went towards Kyle, okay? Instead of going at the person who she felt pissed off at, which was Lisa.
He's really mirroring what I said a few YouTubes back, right? On one of my episode recaps or my live with Thea. I think it was my live with Thea. He's really kind of feeling the same way about Kathy and Kyle's dynamic. So, okay, cool. Let's see.
So fast forward to her going to the club. She's still angry. She wants to play Michael Jackson because at the end of the day, Michael Jackson's music makes you feel good. Okay, Crystal? So Kathy wants to play Billie Jean. Diana, who's there to also promote her boo, Diana's not there to promote no products. She's there so that Asher can get a record deal. But I'll talk about that at another time, child. So Kathy, being already upset, she wants to play Billie Jean because, yes, honey, Billie Jean is not my lover, honey. Yes, that's the song she wanted to hear to make her feel good. So knowing that she got dissed, because again, you're not...
Okay, this is where him and I differ, and I'm going to tell you why, and there's some tea in it, so wait.
Not Kris Jenner, Kathy. If Kris Jenner told the DJ to play Michael Jackson, you best believe the DJ would have played Michael Jackson because at the end of the day, Kris Jenner has a recognizable face. You know who the fuck Kris Jenner is. Kathy, you may be that bitch in the 90210, but in Aspen, Colorado, no one knows you. A millennial DJ, and yes, I'm going to assume that the DJ at the club is a millennial. They don't know you, Kathy. They don't know Paris. Child, they don't know Nikki Hilton. Like, and it's no shade. They don't know you. They probably thought you were another middle-aged woman trying to come on stage to request a song. I don't think the DJ is like this person who's like, no, playing Michael Jackson's problematic. I don't millennials even thinking that. So Crystal, girl, again, this ain't about you. I'll get you another time. The DJ did not play Michael Jackson because at the end of the day, he did not know who Kathy Hilton was. Period, point, and the blank. And that's another reminder to Kathy that outside of 90210, her bubble, you're not that girl. You're not. And that was a tough pill for Kathy Hilton to swallow. Kathy Hilton's anger, ladies and gentlemen, had absolutely nothing to do with being told no to her request. It had everything to do with outside of the 90210 bubble, no one knows who I am. And that's why she left. That's why she went in the car. Lisa Rinna followed her because at the end of the day, Lisa Rinna was like, you are Kathy Hilton to me, bitch. So let me get you home because for those 5 people in Aspen, Colorado who may know you, let me protect you from bad press. Kathy was angry. Rinna was like, you are Kathy Hilton to me, bitch. So let me get you home because for those 5 people in Aspen, Colorado who may know you, let me protect you from bad press. Kathy was angry. And all the anger she felt that day being dissed by Lisa Rinna. But again, you can't take out your anger on Lisa Rinna, because no matter what Kyle does, Kathy will always have a problem with it. And let me tell you why. Kyle Richards is more famous and recognizable than Kathy. The reason why Kathy Hilton did 90210, child, I'm going to stop calling that. The reason why Kathy Hilton decided to do the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is because she wanted fame. That's it. She doesn't need the money. She wanted the fame. She wanted global fame. She wanted fame, the likes of Kris Jenner and her sister. Fame. That's it. She doesn't need the money. She wanted the fame. She wanted global fame. She wanted fame, the likes of Kris Jenner and her sister Kyle. Okay? That's why she wanted to do it. In my humble opinion, Kathy Hilton is jealous of Kyle. And this is why. It's the same reason I said earlier why she doesn't mess with Kris Jenner. All their life, Kathy Hilton was number one. Okay? When you are a rich person who has amassed this wealth, there's power in that. Kathy Hilton had the power for so long that she knew that at the end of the day, her sisters and the people around her would always need something from her because she had the money, courtesy of her husband. Okay? And that's no shade. That's the reason why she has emerged as being more famous than Kathy, being self-made, unlike Kathy, is the star of this big show on Bravo, unlike Kathy. And that was a tough pill for Kathy to swallow. And it goes much deeper. When Mauricio decided to leave the agency that Kathy's husband, Rick, was the owner of, that was a tough pill to swallow. Because they feel like, why would you leave this agency? It's a family business to start your own. And then to see that Mauricio created the agency, and the agency, allegedly, is bigger than the other agency he left. Yeah, that's hard for people to watch.
Let me interject some tea here. Number one, a few days ago, one of the patrons who's wealthy in Aspen, we have some really good patrons, okay, went to the Caribou Club, their members, and they asked for Billie Jean to be played. And they had their video camera. They kept it on the DL, of course, because no cameras allowed at Caribou Club. But the DJ played Billie Jean, no problem, didn't even make a hiccup. And the DJ had nothing to do with being millennial or non-millennial. They play Billie Jean for anybody. Just a regular Joe goes up there as a member and says, hey, play Billie Jean, they play it, okay? So I'll leave that with you. I would have played that video for you on here, but it would get this video copyright blocked because obviously the song is Michael Jackson. I can't play it. So, but it's in the Patreon if you want to see it. And if you can't find it, email me and I'll help you find it when you get in there. One thing that Carlos also left out was that Mauricio poached agents. He didn't just leave Rick's company, which is Hilton and Highlands. He actually allegedly poached agents when he left. Now, let's watch the new show Buying Beverly Hills and see how Mauricio does when one of his agents tries to poach his best guys from his agency. And let's see if he's happy about it. Play a soundbite of Carlos King telling you all the bad things that Kathy Hilton did to Kyle. And he makes some very good points, except...
and they treat you like shit. I know what that feels like personally and professionally. And that is what Kyle is going through. So when you guys try to say, oh, Kyle's not a good sister, you guys have no idea how deep it runs. When Kyle had the opportunity for American Woman, the scripted show, and Kathy decided to send a letter saying you cannot use my likeness, y'all don't talk about that. Y'all don't talk about the fact that if Kathy is such this big person, why did she disinvite Kyle from Paris' wedding only for Kyle to be asked to attend? Y'all have no idea what it's like to be Kyle. And I'm not saying I do either. But what I'm saying is I see tons of parallels in Kyle's life to mine. And I think if you sit back and really watch...
Carlos King might be very sensitive because the rumors say that he tried to steal Candy Baressa's life story, and he was making it into like a biopic about her and her girl bandmates. Yeah, I did a video about it, and they didn't want him going forward with their life story without their permission and involvement and benefit. So he might be feeling... that could be a little self-serving, that section of a show, but that's totally a speculation on my part. What I will say is that why would Kathy Hilton want her likeness to be used in a biopic about her mom that may not be flattering and she's not making any money off it? And it's her story too. And Kyle didn't do it with her or include her in the creative, either because she didn't want to be or because, or more likely, she wasn't asked. I mean, and why would she ever want a fictional version of her mom on TV that could call out all the scandals surrounding Big Kathy? There was loads of scandals around that woman. I mean... Are you serious? She was married 4 times. She allegedly drugged one man's wife to get him. She was hooking up Kathy and Kyle and Kim's friends with rich guys, allegedly. And she was, pitching to her children to marry rich and bragging about them marrying for money and saying have as many kids as you can get. And she herself was married 4 times. She was a casting agent. I mean, come on. Of course she didn't want her to make that show if it had any basis in reality, because either it was going to reflect that or it was going to get people talking about the scandals with Kathy. Not buying what Carlos is selling about, the DJ not knowing who Kathy Hilton is. Kathy Hilton, surrounded with Lisa Rinna, Erika Jayne Girardi, and Kyle Richards at the Caribou Club. Everybody's going to know the housewives are there. They're together. They're going to know it's Kathy Hilton. There's not one staff member in the place that didn't know it was Kathy Hilton. I just think Kathy was maybe belligerent. Okay, I mean, we are talking about a woman who was at one of the hottest restaurants in LA and took her clothes off and left in like a sheet or a towel or something. Like, she has moments where she becomes, like when she's partying, unglued. And I think that's more likely of a scenario than the DJ, hurting her ego so much that he didn't know who she was. I mean, he might have just said, no, or I'll play it in a few songs. And that set her off. Here's some tea that might interest you. Would you like some tea? Because these other shows don't seem to give any. So I think I better help you guys with that. Jeez. I work too hard. I definitely am the hardest working person in Gossip Land. So recently, Barron and his wife Tessa bought a house in the Valley. And they did not get support from Kathy and Rick Hilton in buying that house. Instead, Carter Ream helped support them buying this property. It was about a $2.5 million property. So could it be that maybe Kathy and Rick are preserving some of their income and they do need to diversify into other things to keep up this incredibly, very, very hefty overhead that they have? I mean, else would Barron and Tessa go to Paris's husband for help in buying their home? I'm just saying, things aren't always what they seem. If you want more on that, go in the Patreon. Also, I think Carlos might be getting Paris and Nikki Hilton confused. Kyle Richards was uninvited to Nikki Hilton's wedding and then was invited at the last minute, okay? And Paris Hilton's wedding, she was always invited to and attended. Just saying. Now, here's the last Kathy social media post I'm going to share with you. She did other things on her Instagram, as you kind of heard other people talking about. She posted her and LaToya and Nicole Richie's mom dancing. She posted her kissing Kris Kardashian, just trying to show that she's popular with all the people that, everybody is saying she's jealous about and all this stuff. She's like really in with them and they support her. Anyways, that's why I'm not focusing on that. But here's Kathy Hilton responding to a fan that says, I think Kathy did lose her shit. So what? Family does that. Kyle always cries and gets beyond upset. Plus, she couldn't steer the ship. She lost control. If they don't get past this silly situation, well, that's on them, not anybody else. I think how Kyle's handled it was whatever. She could have squashed it from the jump. Lisa stood up for her and she shit all over her like she did with the Kim situation. Kim was a liar and an alcoholic, laugh out loud, and still is. I agree with Pretty Mess on this one. I want to know, does Pretty Mess have to give back her stuff? That's my concern, laugh out loud. And then Kathy Hilton says, my sister Kim is a lovely person. Don't believe everything you read. We have a lovely family. And then she says, thank you. And she gives like cuddles or something. She is really the only one standing up for her family and Kim. And frankly, Kathy and Kim are tight right now and have been. And Kyle and Kim are not. Kyle hasn't been hanging out with Kim, but Kathy has. I don't see Kyle standing up for Kim or the family. I'm just saying. So now I'm going to turn this video on its head. And I'm going to share such an excellent comment from someone. I really appreciate people who bring intellect into their comments, and this person did. And then I'm going to demonstrate what they were talking about. This was an excellent comment. I just want to, if I gave like a weekly award for gossip comments, this would win. This was from Last Finsta on the left, and it says, House of Hilton book, Paris Exposed, This is Paris, Conrad's infamous flight from hell, 6 Degrees of Paris Hilton's book, Brandon Davis, Kim's nephew, interview in 2009, Joe Francis interview, Nikki's wedding situation, and then in the next season after it, Kyle clarified Mauricio's ethnicity. Also, Kathy not talking to Kyle about the most wholesome storyline possible for Big Kathy and American women. Paris in love. Lifelong friendships with Donald Trump and Michael Jackson doesn't paint a hunky-dory picture of Kathy and the way she raised her children and how they formed them into the people they are today. Well, those are some fun topics. If you don't know what those are, I can't do all of them on this video. It's already so long. In the description of this video, I will put the interview that Joe Francis did about Paris Hilton. I did cover that in YouTube. I will do a quick thing on Conrad Hilton's flight because it's good and I haven't covered it. The rest, I did an episode of Dishing Drama Dana in the Patreon about Big Kathy. You might want to watch that. It kind of fills in the blanks on some of the other stuff. Brandon Davis. I love Brandon Davis. I can't believe that, not the best influence, but so fun and very sexy. Even though he was a little oily, he was very sexy and fun to talk to. Yeah, chalk talk. Brandon back in the day was a messy Marvin, messy. Funny though, but not in this particular scene. I'm going to play you something. I can't put it on here because it'll get copyright blocked or whatever, but I will put a version of it in the Patreon with it unblocked, okay? This is from 2009. This is Paris Hilton laughing hysterically at Brandon Davis making fun of Lindsay Lohan's vajayjay in a really gross, disgusting way and acting like a rich prick. But it shows the kind of vibe that I think the Hiltons are trying to distance themselves from, but this is definitely in their psyche, this entitlement. So I'm going to play it for you, and I'll play the video in the Patreon version. Brandon is accosting Elliot, Kathy's friend.
Can you blow me a kiss over here, Paris? Paris, can you blow me? Paris. Lindsay's movie bomb?
What's your name? Fire Crunch movie bomb. Get in the car now, Paul.
Who? Fire what?
Fire Crunch.
Fire Crunch.
I got you.
So you're saying you like Lindsay?
I think she's worth about $7 million. which means she's really poor. It's disgusting. She lives in a motel in New York.
Paris, what does your necklace say,
It's their
Paris?
last word, okay? We're gonna leave, but Lindsay Lohan is a fire crutch. And she has freckles coming out of her and her is 7 feet long.
It's way worse. Like, there's so much to this video. It's really disgusting. Paris is cackling at his joke. And I mean, I'm like, oh my God. So now, given Lindsay Lohan and Paris Hilton, I don't think had that deep a friendship. You know, they were party friends, but it's just, wow. Yeah. And then Paris Hilton ends up hitting Lindsay Lohan, allegedly, with a bottle or something. And she goes up to a paparazzi and shows the bruise that Paris Hilton gave her. That fan brought up this infamous flight with Conrad Hilton. So let me quickly tell you that story. And then the rest, I'll put what I can in the description so you can go, like, if you want to come in and look at it later, great. And if not, then it's okay. Buy the book. All right. Anyway, the tantrum began even before takeoff, which was scheduled for 3:52 p.m., when Hilton, flying in business class in seat 75J on the upper deck of an Airbus 380, refused to turn off his cell phone. Things escalated rapidly once the flight was in the air, and soon Hilton was smoking weed in the bathroom, punching the bulkhead, and repeatedly bellowing, I will fucking own anyone on this flight. They are fucking peasants. So as I complete this video and I put together the years that Paris Hilton genuinely was an entitled, spoiled, like, destructive girl, right? Running around LA and Hollywood, just creating mayhem everywhere. And I add that to the occasional Nikki Hilton slip up that she did because she was much more reserved. And I add that to Conrad Hilton, who his whole life has been just the hottest mess and totally a brat, entitled nightmare. And then the only good one really seems to be that's consistent is Barron. This comes to mind. I get this vibe off this family, you know? I don't know which one, like maybe characteristics of all of them, you know, the bad egg kids. And I wonder, where did it go wrong? Where did it go wrong? If you think Kyle and Kim are exempt, they're not. They're not. Let me show you one more thing before I go. Kyle Richards, Kathy Hilton, and Kim did a pilot. I guess the pilot was done before The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills was actually picked up as a show for Bravo. Although there was a post of it on YouTube from 2015. It was a little confusing until you got the whole story straight. But essentially, Kyle, I guess, ordered to have it scrubbed off the internet. But what it was all of the sisters going around Beverly Hills trying to help homeless people. But instead of calling them like homeless people, they were calling them bums. And they were doing all these really out of touch ways of helping homeless people, like get them pedicures or make them a sandwich, but not do it in a sanitary way. Or, you know, be upset when the homeless people didn't want their help and like take it personally. And actually, Kathy seemed to be the most dignified on the pilot based on what the fans said, because it's gone now. You can't watch it. Kathy says to Kyle, don't call the homeless people bums. Kyle. Oh, and Kyle gets really excited when the paparazzi see her during the pilot, allegedly. And she's like, oh my God, the Paps. And she's like obsessed with the Paps. And Kathy's like indifferent. Because I guess Kathy was used to being taking her picture up, but Kyle wasn't at the time. Yup. So Dave Quinn wrote a book for Bravo that Bravo, you know, edited and stuff. Anyway, in the book, there is this amazing story from Kyle Richards about how the show started. And what she says is, no to David. What happened was they kind of said they may not do Beverly Hills because of the OC thing. And I'll never forget, I was sitting in the parking lot of Portia's preschool. It was her mommy and me. E had offered us a show with my sisters and me. E had, all three of us. At that time, E wasn't the sister network, so my manager called me. I guess when Bravo heard about the E show, they were like, wait a minute, hold on, we're gonna lose these girls if they do this. So my manager said they will greenlight Real Housewives of Beverly Hills if you say yes right now. And I was like, right now? I need time to think about this. The whole time I was like, is this really going to happen? Is this really going to happen? Am I really going to do this? And they said, well, if you say yes, it's a go. And I was like, okay, let me just call Kim. And I said to Kim, listen, we could do the E thing or we could do this. This is already an existing successful franchise. And I don't know, I kind of, in my mind, I didn't always want to be Paris Hilton's aunt or Kim Richards' sister. Growing up, I had my own acting career. Kim and I both did. And then when Paris became so famous, it was like, oh, that's Paris Hilton's aunt. And I was like, okay, if I do this E show with Kathy, it's going to be a lot of that. So I wanted to do my own thing. And then I brought Kim into it with me. And that's how it started. Boy, is that telling. Thank you to the Reddit user who bothered to type that. Okay. They edited my stories out of that book. I wonder why. Now remember, Kyle Richards had done a cameo on Simple Life with Paris Hilton. I mean, she was working on trying to get famous for a while. And then she had that homeless, I forget what it was. What was it called? The homeless, let me see if I can find it. There's still remnants of it. The Hiltons Beverly Hills Bums Makeover. And let's not forget I Want to Be a Hilton, which was on NBC in 2005. Kathy Hilton has had a relationship with NBC for a very long time. Okay, Kyle Richards was talking to them only in 2009, and I would say that Kathy probably helped getting them to want to talk to her. Anyway, this was a show that featured people who wanted to be like a Hilton. The finalist of the competition received a prize package that includes a $200,000 trust fund, a new apartment, wardrobe, and the opportunity to get to know the Hiltons. Whoa, you get to know the Hiltons. What a win. Okay, they resided at a fancy New York City hotel and were divided into two teams, Park and Madison. Oh, God. In each episode, they were required to perform certain tasks, ranging from dog grooming, a fashion show, and organizing a charity event while learning etiquette and manners. The only problem was that the Hiltons don't have manners, but they forgot that that wasn't important in the show. Okay. Anyway, they were asked to do a variety of challenges that covered subjects ranging from art, culture, beauty, and fashion. Hilton met with the losing team at the end of each episode and eliminated one contestant with the catchphrase, "You're not on the list." This is like an Apprentice type show, I guess. Oh my goodness. Yeah. This was originally going to be called The Good Life, and it was going to be tied to Paris Hilton's reality show, The Simple Life. It was not renewed for a second season. Big shocker. You thought my $25,000 glasses were pretentious. I'm small fries in the land of pretentious in Beverly Hills. Kim is 100% authentic, okay? And she just can't help who she is. She is just who she is. But now are you thinking maybe Kyle and Kathy are both really doing a lot of acting on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills with all this down-to-earth shit? I'm just saying, because that wasn't their brand not so long ago. And when they went on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I think they figured out that the fans want to see rich people be relatable. And they altered themselves. And now this is like the clash of the titans of two of the biggest egos in Beverly Hills, Kyle and Kathy. And none of them are winners in this game, you guys. And that was the point of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to bed. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification. And if people don't see this video, well, they're missing out.